At the core of Richard Mille Watches is a stellar combination of sheer artistry, technical innovation, and the finest watchmaking skills ever seen. This independent watchmaker has taken the watch industry by storm. Within just over 2 decades of operation, Richard Mille has established itself as one of the most luxurious watch brands on the planet, rubbing shoulders with the likes of Rolex, Patek Phillipe, and Audemars Piguet. But how did Richard Mille get to this point? And what is it about the premium watch that makes it so expensive and so popular? We'll be delving into this and more in this video, so be sure to stick around until the end. Before we get started, be sure to smash that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos. To appreciate the success of the Richard Mille brand, we have to go back to where it all started, with a man called Richard Mille. Mille was born in Draguignan, France, in 1951. Interestingly, he didn't start out his career as a watchmaker, but he was accustomed to being around luxury items, something that definitely played a role in the development of his now world-famous watch brand. Mille worked with the management teams of various luxury brands that included the watch division of Matra, a company that was later acquired by Seiko. In 1992, Mille moved on to work with jewelry company Mauboussin, but he would eventually leave the company in 1999, when after much exposure to the luxury items market, Mille decided he now had the competence to begin a luxury watch brand of his own. Together with his friend Dominique Ganot, the owner of watch manufacturer Valgine, Mille set up the company we now know today as Richard Mille. And in 2001, the company released its first watch, the RM001. From the onset, Mille knew exactly what he wanted his watch brand to be, a luxury item designed for the richest people in the world. So it's no surprise that the RM001 commanded a hefty $135,000 price tag, and that was in 2001. The RM001 was marketed as a sports watch, yet it came with a tourbillon. If you know your watch as well, you know that tourbillons are very fragile instruments that should naturally have nothing to do with a sports watch. But tell that to Richard Mille. Designed with a bridge made entirely of carbon and carbon fibers, the RM001 was completely shock resistant. Richard Mille had delivered a watch that was truly revolutionary in its design, and watch specialists were in awe. Richard Mille himself was proud of his first product, as he was quoted describing the RM001 as one of the greatest revolutions of its time in watchmaking history. No doubt the RM001 was a critical factor in the success of the Richard Mille brand, and since then, Mille has never looked back. What followed was a flurry of high-profile endorsements with the likes of Formula One stars Felipe Massa and Fernando Alonso donning the watches. Music producer Pharrell Williams also endorsed the watch, as did Rafael Nadal and current Italian national football team coach Roberto Mancini. Today, the cheapest Richard Mille watch, the RM005, goes for at least $80,000 if you're going for a brand new version of the watch. You might get it for less if you buy a pre-owned version of the watch. The tourbillon models of the Richard Mille brand cost anywhere between $500,000 to $800,000 on average, while other models of the brand could cost as high as $2 million. But despite these ridiculous prices, Richard Mille has become one of the most popular watch brands on the planet. In some regions, the watch is on its way to achieving cult status, and if you're on Instagram, it's almost unlikely that you wouldn't have seen one of these technical masterpieces on your feed. So, what are the secrets behind the success of Richard Mille? Let's dive in. The first factor of the success of this brand, believe it or not, is the price. Convention would say that you should get into the market with an affordable product, and when you've gained a portion of the market share with significant customer loyalty, then you can ramp up the price a bit. Well, Richard Mille did not get that memo. From the get-go, he knew who his targets were, the richest of the rich. The brand's price point is part of its selling points. Crazy as that might sound, that's the reality. By quoting very high price tags, Mille is making a point to filthy rich individuals that his product is specifically designed for them. And with the incredibly high prices comes the limited availability of the watches, which is something that rich people love. For them, very few things are more satisfying than having a limited edition luxury item, and Richard Mille gives them just that. But quoting a ridiculous price is one thing. Meeting up the value of the price tag is another. The design and watchmaking effort put into the creation of a Richard Mille watch is out of this world. Many people don't have a clue how difficult it is to create a Richard Mille watch. The brand's iconic tonneau-shaped case, one of the standout features of the watches, is not only very expensive to make, but also extremely complicated to manufacture. Each one of the case's 3 decks is curved. Not a single piece is flat, which makes machining very difficult. And to complicate things even further, to prevent moisture and dust from entering the case, the curved surfaces must fit together within a tolerance range that's 1/100th of a millimeter. Now that's just crazy. The design of Richard Mille watches focuses on optimizing comfort and aesthetics, yet everything is hand-finished. Richard Mille's signature skeletonized dials involve intricate layering of sapphire crystals, together with other precious elements, to make them legible and observable to the naked eye. The creation of these handmade watches from Richard Mille can be extremely laborious and require the highest level of technical ability, which explains why the watches are they're so expensive. Moving on from the design of Richard Mille watches, one of the brand's major selling points is the top-grade materials used to make the watch. Richard Mille uses materials that are almost new to the watchmaking industry. The watches are made of the kinds of materials you only see in a Formula One car or in the aerospace industry. Richard Mille was probably not the first person to think about adapting these materials to watchmaking, but what he did was to put in the effort to invest several years and millions of dollars into research and development to discover ways of adapting aerospace materials to watchmaking. Wondering what these special materials are? We're talking about carbon nanotubes, reinforced with ceramics, gold infused with carbon and quartz, silicon nitride, perfluoroelastomer, and several other incredible materials. Here's one fun fact. As a result of the peculiar processing methods of these novel materials, no two Richard Mille watch cases are exactly alike. That's because during processing, random patterns in the layering of carbon emerge, creating a unique material composition for each watch piece. Incredible, right? The next thing that Richard Mille has going for it is the comfort it provides. Despite the watch's solid construction, the first thing you notice about a Richard Mille watch is how light it is. For instance, the RM5003, despite looking quite bulky, only weighs 40 grams. You heard that right, 40 grams. To achieve the extreme lightweight features of Richard Mille watches, Mille spent some time working with researchers at the University of Manchester and at McLaren Honda, as both institutions are well known for their research expertise in lightweight materials. But perhaps the most important aspect of Richard Mille's success story has to do with its branding. Nicknamed the billionaire's handshake, Richard Mille's watches are only worn within exclusive circles. And from the onset, Richard Mille tapped into this circle of exclusive individuals when he teamed up with Formula One star Felipe Massa and signed him up as a brand ambassador for the company. And to cap off the ambassadorial deal, Mille specifically designed the RM006 Tourbillon for Felipe Massa. The watch, which is as light as a credit card, was designed to withstand up to 500 G of shock. Rafael Nadal, also an ambassador for the brand, wore a specially made RM027 watch when he claimed his first US Open title in 2010. Then there's also Odell Beckham Jr., who wore a $300,000 RM1103 watch during an NFL game in 2019. And that's the thing about the marketing behind the Richard Mille brand. The ambassadors don't just wear the watches for a photo shoot, they also wear them in action. Felipe Massa wore his piece during a car crash at the 2009 Hungary Grand Prix. Nadal wore his for the 2010 US Final, and Odell Beckham Jr. wore his watch to an NFL game. Not only does this give the brand further exposure, but it also reinforces its durability. But the list of celebrities who now own a piece of the world's most popular watch brand right now has grown beyond just sports stars. Drake, Jay-Z, Ed Sheeran, Pharrell Williams, and Bubba Watson are just a few notable names who are known to have a Richard Mille watch. The RM055 Bubba Watson was made specifically for the professional golfer and has a G-sensor that can tell Watson how fast his club is traveling during swings, which is just crazy. But who knows, maybe they'll make a watch for Drake that records his songs for him. No doubt the Richard Mille brand has gone mainstream and is on its way to becoming a cultural phenomenon. And all of this is down to technical innovation and intelligent marketing. That brings us to the end of this video. So what are your thoughts on this world-renowned watch brand? Are you a fan of Richard Mille? Let us know in the comments section. Thanks for watching till the end, and don't forget to subscribe. We'll catch you again in the next video. Goodbye!